Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel at Newsworthy Publications. This is another video in respect to my ongoing campaigns to clear my name and expose egregious corruption within the judiciary, the police and the CPS. This is surrounding an incident that happened on the 12th of March 2025. In the afternoon, I visited a place called Inner Temple in London, which is just a stone's throw from the Royal Courts of Justice or the Royal Courts of Injustice, as whichever you prefer, and to begin my campaigns to expose the corruption within two KPW chambers. This is the establishment which barristers such as Matthew Farmer, Paul Farley, Paul Dugdale, and Robin Sellers have all been barristers or are still barristers in some cases and have been promoted as judges from this chambers. And those named are involved in the most egregious villainy and corruption that is possible to perpetrate or imagine. Um, Primarily carried out by police here in Avon and Somerset Constabulary. Now, I attended there a couple of months ago, I think in September 24, and I was served with what's called a community protection notice. Can be handed out by police to people that are accused of um, being harassing or intimidating or being, a nuisance generally to members of the community where that person is handed with the notice. The notice in question, I wasn't accused of any specific misconduct. The main complaint seemed to be that I was simply in a private area, which is what Inner Temple is deemed to be. It is effectively the private property of what is apparently a company called Inner Temple, where barristers have their chambers, including, of course, 2KPW. The notice was a warning or a final warning to say that if I returned, if I was banned from everywhere in London, the reason's not entirely clear, and if I went back onto that property, I would be served with a final notice. And again, if I continued to ignore the notice and breach the notice, I would thereafter be arrested and potentially prosecuted with the fine of up to £2,500 being the maximum sentence. I returned, as I've explained, on the 12th of March and therefore breached the final warning notice and was the members of the security staff, in particular Mr. Perry and Mr. Ryan Ross. Mr. Perry was involved mainly in the original notice, and Mr. Ryan Ross was the man who engaged with me on the 12th. And I'm going to show you the video of everything that unfolded. I was wearing my usual body camera or GoPro camera strapped to my chest. So it caught all my interactions, both with Mr. Ross and some builders there who you can see were very abusive, decided that they wanted to homophobically harass me, even though, for the record, I'm not in fact gay. And thereafter, the police turned up. I dealt with a woman whose name I forget, a female officer of colour, and a man called Mr. William Northey, PC William Northey. I think PC the female officer was called PC Fiddle. It's indicated in the footage, so you can see. But it was Mr. Northey who was later to respond to a complaint I made that I was subject to unlawful threats of unlawful violence from Mr. Ross, who is the head of security for the Inner Temple area. And you can see from the footage, he comes over to me and totally invades my space. He points his radio, the antenna of his radio, in my face in an extremely aggressive and threatening way, and then initially says, "If I'm not calm, I'm going to remove you," or words to that effect. And then he continues to make the threats about how he's going to. That if I behaved in a certain way, he was physically going to lay hands on me and remove me from one place to another. Um, there's no lawful justification for threats. He then caveated the threat to say if I was aggressive. Now, being aggressive is, as I pointed out to PC Northey, is it's either an adverb or an adjective. It's either an adjective that describes a noun, or it is an adverb. And in this case, it was being used as an adverb. So somebody who's being aggressive, who's singing aggressively or shouting aggressively, obviously the aggressive is to describe an action where the action could itself be amount to an allegation of a criminal offence. So, such as threatening aggressively, then obviously the threat is the criminal act, and the aggression is makes it more serious. But of itself, it's not necessarily an offence because somebody could be singing aggressively, but therefore that's not an offence, or aggressively pursuing a just cause, which in some respects is what I was doing, and so on and so forth. And of course, doing something aggressively of itself, therefore, is not an offence. But in any event, the original threat from Mr. Ryan Ross was simply that if I'm not calm, of course, being not calm couldn't possibly justify any form of violence to somebody. Bearing in mind, I'm extremely upset about justifiably upset, because within 2 KPW chambers are the most evil, rotten, lying, corrupt members of the judiciary or former barristers from that chambers, who are repeatedly being listed by the staff at 2 KPW chambers illegally, because they're clearly rigging the justice system to ensure crony judges are sitting on the bench who are favourable to their cause or to their vendetta against me. So even the staff, the listings officers, or whatever, not listings officers, but the clerks who arrange the listing with the listings officers in the courts, are clearly part of this bent conspiracy concerning effectively the gangsterism that's going on inside 2 KPW chambers. So I'm entitled to be a little upset, but I was extremely calm. I hadn't even started my. What I was going to do was get out a loudspeaker and denounce what's going on at 2 KPW chambers with a large billboard showing the picture of Judge, for instance, Judge. Adrian Fulford, who has himself admitted to having paedophile connections to convicted paedophile Tom O'Carroll, when Tom O'Carroll was an advocate for an organization called Paedophile Information Exchange during the 70s, when Judge Adrian Fulford was cheek by jowl with this man on some gay rights platform that he was progressing at the time. So, and Judge Adrian Fulford, as I explained in my Barbarians at the Gate videos, which you can go to if you're interested, was involved in homosexual assaults that I suffered in November 2021 when I was arrested on trumped up charges in respect to that matter. So this was just part of a perfectly lawful and peaceful campaign to expose the corruption at 2 KPW chambers, and I hadn't even begun actually making any kind of vocalizing my campaign. So clearly, I wasn't doing anything that could remotely even draw the attention of the security guard or the security manager. And in any event, even if I had committed some kind of been aggressive in quotation marks, obviously, if I was assaulting somebody, then then obviously that would involve the right to use force to prevent in self-defense or to prevent crime under Section 3 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, or under breach of the peace powers, because if there's violence or threatened violence, then somebody can be arrested for breach of the peace under that criteria. So that obviously, if there was violence or further or other forms of acts of criminality, then I could be theoretically citizens arrested or detained or restrained in some manner by Mr. Ross. All of this is completely hypothetical, of course, because I was simply standing, not doing any harm to anybody at the time that he approached me. But it certainly couldn't involve him transporting me to somewhere else, because that would definitely be kidnap. Because clearly, if he was restraining me, then he would have to restrain me in order for the police to come and involve themselves in whatever incident I was being restrained for. It couldn't possibly involve me being thrown out of the area or out of the temple area or any other area, because that would obviously be transporting me somewhere else and wouldn't be for the purposes of citizen's arrest or restraining me to prevent a crime. So, by any criteria, what Mr. Ross was engaged in was a threat of unlawful violence, clearly contrary to Section 4. I would suggest Section 4 of the Public Order Act, or Section 4A, whichever you choose. Then later on, as you can also see from the video, there were two builders, or there were several builders working at 2 KPW, or the chambers, that part of the building where 2 KPW chambers was, on the scaffold behind me. And one of the gentlemen, clearly not a very intelligent man, who appeared to be quite damaged in some way, because he did seem to be very below par intellectually, but he took against the fact that I was engaging in this campaign, and was embarking in very deeply personal comments about me, about how my campaign was just about me, and when I pointed out that I was trying to expose the fact that Judge Adrian Fulford had paedophile connections and was almost certainly a paedophile himself, he said how he made some sort of joke about how he thought that was okay. I can't remember the exact words. And then towards the end, him or one of his colleagues wrote "gay boy" in the filth that was on the back of his van. So that when I was engaging with the police, it was immediately in my eye line, this "gay boy" comment, in big capital letters, and then behind me there was a piece of paper that somebody had written "knob," written with a K, and clearly it was the profanity was, I presume, was in reference to male genitalia, which of course is written without a K. But in either event, it was obviously a profanity of homophobic kind of orientation. And all this was going on in the full views of both my camera and the police officers who were surrounding me. So I was being subjected to what was clearly homophobic public order harassment, in which the police again completely turned a blind eye. And I raised the threats from Mr. Ryan Ross with Northey and Fiddle, after I was served with the final um, notice, the community protection notice. And it should be noticed from the notice, that on it says that I was engaging in intimidation and harassment, which should justify the notice, which is absolute fabrication. I was not intimidating or harassing anybody. I barely been there no more than a few minutes on both occasions. So that is complete fabrication. And there was in terrible handwriting. The officer, I think it was Fidel, who wrote out the notice, was making the issue that I was on private land. But it's quite clear that the fact that I was technically on private land, if that was the case, the land itself was clearly a right of way. There's anybody is able to walk through the premises, certainly during business hours. I think they do lock up at night, but there's no checking or checkpoint Charlie situation where you have to speak to a security guard to get into the premises as you would into a court building, for instance. So it's clearly a right of way of some description. There's clearly right of access. And in any event, it doesn't. The fact that I'm on private property should not make any conduct somehow more serious under the terms of the community protection notice than it would if I was out in the public street. That's patently, two-tier justice, and saying that people with wealth are somehow being subjected, somehow have more protection under the community protection notice legislation than those who are just round the corner, who aren't, who don't own the streets upon which the conduct is alleged. But of course, the key issue is that none of my well, it clearly wouldn't. The conduct didn't amount to the conduct that was being complained of, because the police themselves accepted that if I'd gone round the corner and done the same conduct, just a few hundred meters away outside the precincts of the City of London, because they broadened out the private property to not only include the inner Temple area, but they then said I was banned from the whole of inner London. So they said that as soon as I was outside inner London, I could carry on doing exactly what I was doing, and I would not be committing any kind of breach under the CPN legislation. So the whole thing was a complete fabrication. Anyway, I'll show you the footage. I'll show you the kind of corruption. Of course, as I was saying, the video proves the very corruption that I'm complaining of in my peaceful protest, because I've not done any harm to anybody. I've not threatened anybody. I've not harassed anybody. I'm simply, making allegations against those who I allege have colluded in the most serious allegations. And you will note that the police, nobody takes any interest. You possibly expect that kind of conduct from the builders who were there. I'm not saying all builders, but those particular builders were clearly, you don't expect them to be necessarily concerned about public justice matters or the sort of things I was protesting about. But the police officers themselves took no interest in what my signs were saying, or in whether I had evidence of corruption within 2 KPW chambers or with Judge Adrian Fulford or anything else. So that just, and then the police then fabricated allegations to justify putting the community protection notice in place, and then ignored the harassment that I was being subjected to from um, first of all from Mr. Ryan Ross, and then with the unnamed builders. And just finally, before I show you the footage, I'll read out the letter from the email from William Northey, who wrote to me on the 15th of March 2025 in response to my requesting that they investigate Mr. Ryan Ross for criminal threats of unlawful violence against me. And this is the response from William Northey. He states, "Good morning, Mr. Gray. I am writing to inform you that following a review of the report that you made to the police, or made to police, the decision has been made not to crime this report. The rationale for this is that it did not amount to a crime due to the conditional comment made by the security staff member, and that it is conditional on the PR showing aggression while on private land that the security staff is responsible for. If you disagree with this decision, you of course have the right to challenge this. You could report the incident online so that it can be assessed by a different officer, and you have the opportunity to write it in your own words." This is utter nonsense. The what I mean, the the fact that I'm on private property doesn't mean that people can go up and make threats of unlawful violence. The violence that was threatened to remove me would have been the same if I'd been in a pub, and the threat was from a landlord or anybody else. It's true. I only referred to the aggression. I didn't refer to the original comment from Mr. Ross, which was that he was going to remove me if I wasn't calm. But the point about the removal is that the violence is not simply, he's not going to restrain me if I attack somebody, or if I commit a violent offence for which he is justified, or some other offence for which he's justified in restraining me, because somebody can be restrained if they are, they can be, reasonable force can be used if there's if they've committed a theft and they're trying to escape, because theft is an indictable offence, and that again allows citizens arrest powers, provided the offence is lawful. But it has to be to restrain somebody so that the police can turn up. It can't be to remove somebody from one place to another, because that by any criteria is kidnap. So this officer's lying in his head, and why it should make any difference, well, how it could possibly be that I go to another policeman and ask them to make the same complaint. Clearly, this officer is either lying or he's not. He's made his mind up. And as I understand it, and as the case now stands, I'm appealing to his inspector, because I understand that the inspector can review that decision. But this officer's lying in his teeth. And of course, I didn't raise at the time I spoke to him, as you can see when I've discussed the issue of the threatening violence from Ryan Ross. I didn't raise obviously the other concern about the homophobic harassment from the builders, which has gone on right in front of the police officers' faces, and indeed was addressed to them as much as others. There could have been children present, and why should children have to be subjected to the sort of vile abuse of the word knob? and homophobic comments about being a gay boy. As I understand it, there is a specific homophobically aggravated offence. I'm not entirely sure on this. I haven't researched it in detail, but clearly on behalf of homosexuals generally, I would think that was pretty disgusting harassment. And for all I know, Mr. Northey himself was a homosexual. But I mean, the issue is clearly that it was ignored entirely by Mr. Northey and his police colleagues, when I would have thought that was a serious criminal offence not necessarily a serious criminal offence, but a criminal offence in its own right, in which Northey and his colleagues were colluding. So there you go. This is just to indicate, this is just further indication of the sort of corruption which I am seeking to expose, and obviously justifies my actions in the first place.
Well, you can standing right next to me, okay? I don't know if you're diseased or what. Just keep a safe distance. If you've got a problem, call the police. That is their job. So, don't harass me.
I'm not harassing
you. You are. I don't want to speak to you. So go away. You're in my face. I don't want to speak to you. Do you understand that?
I'll tell you to calm down, and I'll remove you from sight. How about that?
You can try, mate. I'm not sure that would be legal.
You're an argument there for me, all right?
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? This is a free country. My grandparents fought a war for this. If you've got a problem, you've already issued me with a notice. Call the police. You're not a police. You're a civilian. You cannot physically remove me. This is open access area, and trespass is a civil matter. So if it's a trespass, I'm filming this.
You've got the total right to do your protest.
Thank you. Right. Get out of my. I don't want to speak to you. All right. I've just eaten. You're not the nicest person to look at. Go away. Keep a distance from me. Okay. You can stand there. I can't stop you talking, but get out of my personal space. All right.
In your personal space.
All right. I'll back away. You're right into my face. Go up and talk to a stranger like that. Go and walk to some fair young lady and do that, and see who gets carted off first.
Well, we'll see if you get.
Could you witness this guy? Yeah, we'll see who gets carted off. You think I'm an anonymous object? Look at this guy. You go and look online. Judge Adrian Fulford. He's got paedophile connections to Tom O'Carroll. Okay, so it's a public interest matter. Okay. These people are hiding behind the coattails of this paedophile judge. Okay, and I've got evidence. No, because you're coming into my face. I've been terrorised and harassed. You're now backing off a bit, so I appreciate that. I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to engage with you. If you've got an issue with my standing here with a poster, then call the police. That is entirely your right, or you can stand there, chat all you like. I can't stop you. I'm going to have a loudspeaker in a minute, so we'll see who wins with that.
All I would say to you, you've got the right to protest, okay, but there's no need to be aggressive. If you get aggressive, I'll remove you from sight. It's as simple as that. Do you understand?
You can try and remove me from sight. I'm aggressive. What are you going to do? I can tell you, okay. I'm well within the level
so now you're threatening me, are you?
No, you're threatening me. You just threatened me twice with unlawful violence.
Well, I tell you what, all right?
You can tell me what, yeah. You
unpeaceful, you'll be removed.
Under what powers are you threatening to remove me? Under what lawful powers are you threatening to remove me? Under what lawful powers?
You have to have a peaceful protest.
Not because you're coming into my face, threatening me.
Personal space.
Under what powers? Okay, all right. You're saying that I'm being aggressive. Under what powers do you think you can personally remove me for being aggressive? Under what powers?
Am I removing you?
No, you threatened to remove me if I got aggressive.
If you get aggressive.
Under what powers? Under what powers does he have to remove me?
You're actually on private property.
Yeah, that's a civil matter. It's a civil matter. No, you don't. Not under. Look it up online. Have you got a computer near you? Have you got a computer near you?
The police attending, sir.
Well, that's what I said to him. Just wait for the police to come up. If he's got an issue. No,
you're allowing you to be here. Okay?
I don't need your permission. But so. No, but you listen. What's your name? I don't even know who you are. What's your name? Are you a civilian?
I'm the head of security.
Okay, I thought he was the head of security.
No,
okay, you're so what's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan who, sorry?
Ross.
Ryan Ross. Okay, so under what powers, if I become aggressive, right, you can detain me if there's a section 24A indictable or potential indictable offence, you can restrain me.
Self-defence law. Okay?
Self-defence law. Obviously, if I try to attack you, then you.
Aggression.
No. You said you would. You said that just being what does aggressive mean? It's completely arbitrary.
You're not disturbing breach of the peace.
Huh?
You're disturbing breach of the peace.
Breach of the peace. So you're threatening to arrest me? That's not removal. So if you're threatening me, am I now being detained?
I'm going to arrest you, remove you.
The police have issued me with the notice, okay? They said if I come back, they'll issue me with a final warning, and then if I abuse that, then they will arrest me. That is the information I've got from the police online, okay?
I just remind you, you're on private property, you're
Yes.
not allowed to have the placards up.
I can have what I like. If it's a civil matter, you can litigate me, find out my address.
Come to your front garden and put up placards in your
It's
front
not,
garden.
this is an area of business, isn't it? This isn't someone's private property.
Yes, it is private property.
You can talk all you like, you can talk all you like, you can talk all you like. It's a place of business. It's not somebody's personal home where they've got children sleeping, is it? It's a place of business where I say these
Yes,
people,
there are children.
these child abusers,
There's a flat above you, sir.
all the more reason for me to be out here protesting this paedophile here, Judge Adrian Fulford, who these people hide behind. No, but these judges hide behind this judge, who is a paedophile judge, okay? So, and then I'm certainly not doing anything to intimidate or terrorise children, am I?
Right, we'll wait.
I would say that was far more his bailiwick, and him coming up to me saying he will physically remove me if I appear to be aggressive. There is no such power under that. That is not breach of the peace. That is just a random threat of violence.
Well, I can hear you over there, sir.
That's because he's come up and threatened me. If someone comes up and threatens me, then
Who's threatened you?
I've just told you. I've just told this guy. I've just got it on film. I've just explained to you.
And said hello to you for
Yeah, I didn't say you. I said Mr. Ross. I said Mr. Ross. I said Mr. Ross did it, not you. Are you the one and the same being? Are you? No.
We work for the same organisation.
Yeah, but you're not the one who threatened me with unlawful violence. I can guarantee you.
Threatened you with unlawful violence?
I've just explained to you, Mr. Ross.
Is your video cam recording?
It is indeed. Of course it is.
We can look at that in the court of law, then, can't we?
Oh, you're going to prosecute me first, mate. You think you've got everybody in your pocket, the police who don't come out, don't say boo to a goose about any serious matter, but they will come running for you because I'm standing here with the poster. Two-tier justice. Have you heard of that? You think anybody with a bit of power and money are the police's lackey, and somebody who's an underdog who doesn't have money, I know for a fact. And half the country believes that. Half the country believes that. Nigel Farage has got 4 million voters backing up. Nigel Farage has got 4 million voters supporting him.
I don't really
believe that.
You're entitled to your own opinion.
Everybody's in everybody's pocket. They think that's justice. Who can buy the biggest lawyer and use their connections to the biggest judge, and they call it justice. Guys, don't we have a two-tier justice system in this country? Don't you think we have a two-tier justice system? Huh? Okay. You see that law they're bringing in? That white people are going to be sentenced harsher sentences to ethnic minorities under the new sentencing guidelines. You want that for your children and your children's children? Racial bias against white people in this country? Do you want that for your country? No habla español? Habla español? Are you not the slightest bit interested about evidence I have about the corruption in this? It's just because they're your bosses, you'll look the other way, no matter how much evidence I have of corruption. So they're not paying rent. They're not paying rent to you guys, and you're not being paid out of money from all the chambers around here. So who's paying you? The taxpayer? I doubt it. Don't we have a two-tier justice system in this country? Haven't they just brought in guidelines saying that ethnic minorities are going to get lighter sentences than white people? I can guarantee you the money that's coming out of that building and into your pockets is blood money. It's got my blood on their cash. I can promise you that. More than a few £1,000s, hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money has been spent trying to shut me up, and here I am, louder than ever. If you check online, if you go on YouTube, you know this case. How do you know this one?
On YouTube. My missus watched it.
This one?
Yeah. This bloke, Tom O'Carroll.
Yeah, no. This is connected to that because this judge is connected to Tom O'Carroll. Yeah. So that's on YouTube, is it? Yeah. No, I mean, because he's got my blood on his hands as well, and they chose this judge to cover up all the sick things that are going on in here. I mean, you have no idea. If you just go online, if you've got 5 minutes,
I'll get you to look into
yeah, all you do is go at Newsworthy Publications. If you just Google that onto the YouTube website, please. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2 KVW chambers. In this building here, Judge Robin Sellers, villainous, evil, wicked crony judge, got his judgeship off the back of the case involving Ben Gray, myself. If anybody cares one jot about public justice in this country, if anybody cares one jot about the sacrifice of millions in 2 world wars, my parents had to be deported or had to be refugees to escape Hitler's blitzes. She had to endure 10 years of rationing. My grandfather, I can find the dispatch papers from my grandfather as he was discharged from the First World War. All the blood and sacrifice, the blood, sweat and tears, as Churchill put it, all for nothing because these judges are bringing the British justice system back to the medieval ages. We might as well live under Sharia law. At least we know where we stand if we were under Putin's tyranny. Because these judges, here we have Judge Adrian Fulford, Lord Justice Adrian Fulford with his connections to Tom O'Carroll, the paedophile, the convicted paedophile, when he stood shoulder to shoulder to him as a gay rights campaigner back in the 70s. Tom O'Carroll was at the time the head of Paedophile Information Exchange, which advocated lowering the age of consent to below the age of teenagers. An absolute despicable monster, now convicted in the criminal courts for paedophilic activities. And here he is, still on the bench, still deciding and involving himself in child abuse cases. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. At Newsworthy Publication, sir, if you've got 5 minutes, if you Google that on your, either Google it or go on YouTube search engine. At Newsworthy Publications is an expose YouTube channel proving the villains in this place. Judge Paul Dugdale, Barrister Paul Fairley, Barrister Matthew Farmer, Barrister and now Recorder, now Judge Robin Sellers, evil, villainous monsters, dripping in my blood, using the listings process to rig the justice system, to get crony judges to stitch up Ben Gray in the courts, deny him legal representation, force him to represent himself after being sexually molested by Detective Sergeant Bale, Stuart Bale, and several other police officers, groping and molesting me, abusing the position of trust and power, and the public, breach of the peace powers, where there has to be threat of violence, imminent threat of violence, or a threat, or actual violence, in order to justify a breach of the peace. Already threatened by this man here, Mr. Ross, threatening to remove me by force without any lawful justification. That is threat of unlawful violence. And here he has his audience of the great intellects here who might as well be sitting on the bench, might as well be barristers. Because honestly, you probably have more integrity, more nous, more common sense than even these monsters. And that isn't saying much. I think we can agree on that, gentlemen.
Have you got a job?
Do you think, honestly, am I interrogating you? Am I making it personal? Why don't you look at my YouTube channel to see if I have got any evidence?
Have you got a job?
Do you know what a calling is, sir? Do you know what a calling is? No, it goes higher than a job. It goes higher than a job. He's allowed to speak. He can ask me questions if he's taking an interest. It's better that you're taking an interest than not taking an interest at all.
It's your job.
What have I just said about calling? What have I just said about calling? There is a difference.
Yeah, I'll get paid for my work.
Yeah, I don't begrudge you. You're doing an honest day's work. It's better than robbing people. That is true. Well done. Congratulations. But I haven't got an issue with you. Why are you taking an issue with me? I'm just out here exercising my right to be out here protesting and campaigning was bought with great sacrifice, huge sacrifice. Otherwise, we might as well live in Putin's Russia. Okay? And I'm not campaigning against you. It's nothing personal against you. I know you were here, weren't you, a couple of months ago, doing the same thing, trying to mock me and rile me up for no reason at all. But I'm no threat to you. So, as I was saying, anybody that's interested in the justice system, and presumably people that work around this building, this person might not know, but his taxpayers go for the justice system. His money, it may be that tomorrow, it may be never, that he goes before the courts, or someone he loves goes before the courts. He wants a fair trial. It's in interest. It's in his interest, in the interest of his mother and father and everybody else connected to this man, that he gets a fair trial if or when he goes before the courts. I complain that I haven't had a fair trial. I did 18 months with a stitch up by these people. They rigged the jury system, they rigged the listing system, they colluded in sexual assault from police officers, and then they got it covered up by Judge Adrian Fulford. Why don't you look up Judge Adrian Fulford online and look at his connections to the paedophile, convicted paedophile Tom O'Carroll? You see, you were joking about paedophile issues last time we spoke, aren't we? Yes. Well, great. Don't you look well on camera? You're entitled to it. You're entitled to say what you like. If you want, as long as it's within the criminal law. If you think it's okay to make fun of paedophile children who are not just sexually assaulted but tortured he let one of those people off. He reduced their sentence because he said it was unfair for him to be banned from having connections to children for life. So he reduced it. He already had to apologise for having connections to a convicted paedophile, Tom O'Carroll, a High Court judge. What is he doing? Still sitting on the bench, still sitting on child abuse cases, when only a few months earlier he had apologised for having connections to child abuse cases, having connections to child abuser Tom O'Carroll. Shouldn't you be concerned? How do you know that somebody that may abuse someone you love goes before this judge? You're not bothered. Okay, well you make my case for me. You make my case for me. If nobody is bothered, yeah. Have you heard that expression? First they came for the Unionists and nobody spoke out for me. Then they came for the Jews. Nobody spoke out for them. Then they came for me, but there was no one left to speak out for me. Exactly. That's probably why you're doing the sort of job you're doing, breathing in dust all day long, and paying your taxes so these guys can live high and mighty, and colluding and abusing your children. So you're working your socks off to bring in illegal immigrants from the boats who then torture and rape your children. You know, that's exactly. That's your right. That's your right. That's just as it's my right. That's probably a good thing I'm not working, so at least I know my taxes aren't going to pay to put up rapists in hotels. What's your name? My name's Ben Gray. You can find me online on YouTube. Do you want to give me your name?
Ben Gray as well.
Okay, fair enough. Are you the flower of England? Do you represent this country? If they put you, would you be the every man on the street? If they interviewed you, would you represent? Sorry. But you know, most of these barristers and judges, right? They're all sons of other barristers and judges. So it's a completely closed shop. The amount of working class people you can find who become judges and barristers, you can count on one hand. Yeah. So you're, you know. Do you think that's right? I mean, obviously, if you're an example of somebody that would be on the bench, then it's probably better you stay sweeping shit. You know. So. Am I allowed to drink first? Mm-hmm. I think I'd rather be arrested, to be honest.
Yeah? That'll be the second time you'll be abused by police then, wouldn't it? You wouldn't want that again?
No, I've been arrested something like 40 times. And I've been found to have been falsely imprisoned by the local police on 3 separate occasions.
Wow.
Falsely imprisoned and assaulted by people that are supposed to be protecting me, yeah? And that's where your taxpayers are going. Your taxpayers have been paid for... You don't pay tax, right? Thank you, my friend. It's not about fans. It's not about me. It's about the justice system. Why, instead of talking to me, why don't you go on YouTube and look at my video? Okay. You don't have a mobile phone. Someone just go online. I'm sure someone can provide you with newsworthy publications.
Hello, Benjamin.
Please don't call me Benjamin. My name's Mr. Gray. If you want to speak to me, what's your name? What's your name, please?
It's PC Fidel.
Hi, PC Fidel. Hi.
Right.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
You have got a CPW that was issued.
Yeah.
Where you're not allowed to be in this area. You're technically trespassing.
Well,
Private land.
That's correct. Yeah. I remember being handed that. Yeah.
Yes. So that doesn't end until September the 15th.
Yeah.
Of this year.
Yeah.
So we're going to issue you a community protection notice.
Right. Am I allowed to discuss the legality of the original, or what is it called, an order or a notice or whatever it's called?
There was part of the paperwork that should have been given to you. If you've got any issue with it, let me just double check, but it says there's something in there about taking it, appeal must be made within 21 days of the beginning period.
Yeah, but I've tried to appeal the original notice from, when was it, a couple of months ago?
Yeah, in September.
September, so more than a couple of months ago, and they said that I needed to have been, so the warning, you can't appeal the warning, you have to have actually been, I don't know if it's arrested, I don't know if I can appeal this particular, if I can appeal that, then that'll do for the time being, because then I can challenge the legality of it. So,
an appeal must be made within the period of 21 days, beginning with the day on which the person is issued with the notice.
I think.
So this is the notice.
This is the notice. I can appeal that.
You can appeal.
Okay.
What it says on, I've never had it gone through, but we can. There's the same.
Yeah. So
but I think that was on the other form as well. I think there's just telling you about what you can do if you get actually served with the final notice. With the,
right,
I thought we're actually arrested. Can I look at it if you're serving me with that? I mean, do you want to fill it in first? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Can I make a counter complaint, because I'm filming. I've been filming since I arrived. Yeah. This guy here, Mr. Ross. He came right into my face. He jabbed. He's got his walkie-talkie. He's poking it. I said, "Could you just keep some safe distance?" He refused, and he said, he wouldn't leave me alone. I said, "I don't want to engage with you. Please, don't harass me. Just leave me alone." And he refused. He kept going on. It kept making. He repeatedly. He threatened me at least 3 times with unlawful violence. He said, "If you're aggressive, I'm going to physically remove you." Okay. He doesn't have any powers to physically remove you. I asked him under what powers he had. None was provided. There is none, because
he said,
what's your name again? Sorry, PC.
PC Northey.
I didn't.
Northey. North with an EY on the end.
Is that NO? Is that with a TH or a?
TH.
Okay. Go on.
No, that's right. It's there. Essentially, because he obviously qualified it, but if you were aggressive, you'd have certain powers to deal with an aggressive person the same way any member of the public would. And also, he did say this is private land, and informs you you're a trespasser. And there is provisions to use a reasonable force to move a trespasser off the land once they've been warned.
No, that's not true.
Aggravated trespass.
Aggravated trespass. Yeah. If there's an offence, I mean, because I've obviously.
That hasn't happened. But I think he was trying to explain that in the best way.
No. I mean, he didn't try to do it.
No.
But the threatening. The question is whether he did have a lawful power to remove me for just generally being aggressive. I mean, if everybody had the power to manhandle somebody for being aggressive, then the whole of London would be in trouble.
Aggression, doesn't it? Because obviously,
exactly.
If it gets like public order offence, then any person could stop a suspect of a public order offence. Section 3 of common law, you're a suspect of an offence, sort of thing.
No, you have powers to. There's the Section 3 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, is it? I think, where you can use reasonable force to stop somebody committing a crime, or to effect an arrest. But the arrest has to be lawful in the first place. The Section 3 isn't the power of arrest. It's just how much force you can use. A citizen can arrest under Section 24 of PACE. That is a citizen's arrest powers, or under breach of the peace issues. So, can I just finish the point? I do accept that he would have the power to. I don't think he would have any power to remove me. He might have the power to restrain me, but not to physically remove me. There's only one law that I know where a civilian can use force, and that is under the Courts Act 2003, where security guards in a court building can remove somebody if they're being disrupted to the court. There's various criteria, but they can just simply, they can act as bouncers to throw people out. This man is not a security guard in a court. He's a civilian. He has no more powers than anybody else here. He cannot be just saying, because you're being aggressive, any more than I could just walk up to strangers on the street and say, if you're being aggressive, I'm going to throw you out of the pub. He can't. It doesn't have any power, whether the landlord or just somebody in a pub.
I mean, it depends on the vagueness of the aggression point.
Yes, no, but I totally accept that. And some aggression can be murdering somebody, or it can be just being slightly angry about a football team. Okay, so, but he was just saying aggression. He's saying if you're in any way aggressive, he's going to physically remove me. He wouldn't have any power to physically remove me. He would have the power to restrain me or prevent a crime. Okay, and the preventing crime isn't restraining. So that is an unlawful threat. He's got no lawful basis. I want to make a criminal complaint. I'm happy to comply with this. So I'm meeting you halfway. I'm happy to go now because they want me gone. I've got to put this down. Okay, so it's a poster. Yeah, I mean I'm here. This is all I'm complaining about is that this man here, Judge Adrian Fulford, right? He's a Lord Justice. He's got connections to paedophile Tom O'Carroll. He's had to apologise. You can find his name online. Okay, he's well known. I've even spoken to a gentleman up here who's heard about him, one of the builders here, he's refused an appeal on paper where I was convicted by a Robin Sellers, who was a barrister here. He's now a Crown Court judge, so, and I'm complaining that he got his judgeship off stitching me up in the courts. I was denied representation in trial. Okay, and it's a long story. It's all online. So all I'm trying to do is campaign and peacefully protest and draw the public's attention. Even this guy's shown some interest, and he's not the sharpest tool in the box. So, and he's made it clear he doesn't care anyway. So, but somebody else does. These people should not. These people need to be under criminal investigation. So, which is why I'm happy to. The fact that you've issued me with this order means that I can get this matter in the Crown Court. I can challenge it not in the Crown Court, in the Magistrates' Court initially. So that's a good starting point anyway. That's all I'm here to do. I'm not here to threaten anybody, to cause any violence at all. This guy knows me from last time I came here. I had a totally peaceful engagement with the police when they turned up, and I complied with their request to leave after I was given the notice. But on that occasion, they made a false allegation that they'd asked me repeatedly. I've been here for hours. I just turned up. He immediately called the police within 2 minutes of him asking me to leave, and I said I wouldn't. And he was getting in my face then. This is the smaller guy. I don't know his name, but there wasn't major crime from them. I wasn't making a major complaint, so I didn't push it. But this guy that's threatening unlawful. He can't just walk up to strangers. He's a civilian. He's maybe the manager, and he's got, he's a big burly guy. He came right in my face. Would it matter if I was some frail young lady or an elderly lady? He shouldn't be threatening violence because I'm standing here with a poster.
So what he said? What was it he said to you?
He said, if you're aggressive, I'm gonna physically remove you. And he said it 3 times or 4 times, and he was going to throw me out. Physically throw me out. So he was going to lay hands on me, use violence, and then I said, well, I said, if you do that, then I said, you can try. And I said, I would probably resist if you tried to do it. And they said, I said, now you're being aggressive. So he was kind of like, because he threatened me, I was responding to the threat. That is a public order. Sorry, that is breach of the peace, because he's making threats of violence. So he's creating a violent situation. Okay, and just because he's connected to barristers or he's whatever, it just shouldn't have.
No, it's not about that.
Well, please respond to why you're not going to pursue the complaint.
Oh yeah, I'll do it after.
Well, it's sort of like, it's more of a condition or something like if you're aggressive.
Can I talk to you this, because this guy's making faces. While you're explaining to him, I'm going to listen to you, but I don't want to look at this guy. Do you want me to move this? Do you want me to go?
You want to start taking that down?
Or I can just go out on the street, because I think once I'm off public, you just want me off this area.
So
Yeah?
what will happen is, I don't know, we haven't spoken
Sorry,
to Connor.
I know you've got a name somewhere, haven't you? Yes, how do you do, Mr. Connor?
297.
Okay.
Call me Connor, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, is that your surname, Connor?
No, that's my first name.
So can I have your surname as well?
It's Walker.
Okay.
CP297.
Yeah, I do prefer first name.
That's fine. Obviously, you're aware that you were given a CPW last time. So
Yeah, I've explained that. I'm aware of that.
That lasts a year. Okay, so it's a long
Yes.
term. Obviously, you're back within that time frame.
Yeah.
So what you'll be issued now.
Final notice. Yeah, I know this.
Notice.
Yeah.
I've got to go through it anyway.
No, because I've already been told. I've already gone through it with him and her.
I know, but
Oh, go on if you want to. Yeah, I'm not. You're the one in the uniform.
it lasts for 3 months. That bans you from the city as an entirety.
Well, the London city.
City of London. There's a designated area. It's basically the best way to tell any sort of road signs that has our City of London crest on it.
Well, no, because I've got to go home. I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, no, I was told that it was that particular spot. No, because
this was set out at night.
well, how do I get home? Because I need to.
You can head home now.
No, I don't live in London. I've
So
got.
you can drive.
No, I don't drive. I have to go to a coach station. My coach doesn't leave until 10:30. I can. So you're saying if I start walking out, I've got to. So does that include the Strand?
No.
It doesn't. Oh, so okay. So okay. So if I go that way west.
Go that way. Go west.
Yeah.
So anywhere past the top end, once you go past Chancery Lane.
Yeah.
Okay, you're then outside
Yeah, no
the
problem.
City of London.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of there.
Yeah. No problem. No
you do
problem.
whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
However, this little notice here, once my colleague finishes.
Yeah. I'll challenge it in the court. Not a problem.
That's fine.
Brilliant.
Once my colleague finishes completing it, she'll hand it over to you. There's a list on there of conditions on there.
But can I just ask? I mean, well, do you want to finish? I don't want to interrupt you, but obviously while I'm thinking of points, but obviously just want to get over with what you want to say, so that we can just move on once. If you tell me the issue about what the issue that I had with it when I was going to appeal it but I couldn't, was that they're saying that the court said, and I wrote to the Westminster Magistrates Court, they said you couldn't appeal it because of the because you haven't been given the actual notice, which you're now saying is the notice, which I can
So
appeal.
I'll be giving. So if you can appeal if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone here has cameras on, but this will be given to you. We'll take a copy for ourselves. That'll be put on electronically, so we have photos of it. This will be given to you in person. So obviously, you can try and appeal it. By all means, do.
Yeah, when I can appeal it,
I'm
I might not
happy
get
for
I'm not meant to
anyone
win the
appeal
appeal.
If you'd like to appeal it,
But
that's your decision. However, this, from when we give it to you, they'll have conditions on it. You need to stick to them conditions. Okay. Obviously, if you are to return back here within that 3-month time period from today when you're issued it, there won't be a warning anymore. There'll be an arrest.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, I can't even afford to come to London, from Bristol more than once every 4 months anyway, at least. So you're saying if I come back after 4 months, and I'll just get another notice like that?
Yeah. So your CPW is still in place at that time period.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, if you was to come back maybe
you
get arrested, they'd go back to CPF.
I couldn't afford to come back here for another 4 months because I live in Bristol. I'm on benefit, so it would cost me an arm and a leg to get a coat. Well, it doesn't cost that much, but I have to save up just to get the journey down here. You don't have to worry about me coming within 3 months. My main issue is challenging it in the courts. But once I've been given that, can I just ask you? Can I clarify something for the purposes of my appeal? Because I want to establish your legal grounds for imposing. I'm sure you want me to understand what the basis is. That said, I was just speaking to Mr. Northey about a counter complaint from Mr. Ross, who I've got him on film, making unlawful threats of violence. He said, if you're aggressive, I'm going to physically remove you, I'm going to throw you out. You continually make that threat, even though I said I just didn't want to speak to him, please leave me alone. He kept haranguing me, he came right into my space, he had a walkie-talkie, he was like jabbing it in my face, only trying to obviously rile me and get a reaction. I just said, please go away, you're harassing me. If you call the police, by all means, and he repeatedly threatened me with violence when I wasn't offering any violence, and because he kept talking over me, I spoke a bit loudly back to him, and he said, oh, now you're being aggressive, and he was kind of edging towards actually carrying out his threat. That is what Mr. Northey was explaining. If you want to explain instead, I don't mind who does it. You're all being very peaceful and polite. Could you tell me why that is not unlawful violence?
If that is the case, you'd like to make a complaint, or you'd like to make a
to you
report.
now.
Yeah,
yes.
if you'd like to make a police report about it, absolutely we can do.
Oh, great. Okay, brilliant.
Let's get this done.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. That's brilliant.
One of us can
Brilliant.
help you out
Yeah,
with that.
that's fantastic.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Each one to each one. So if I go out of there, I'm no longer in the precinct. Yeah.
So if you go outside, up through Mighty Court buildings, up to the end, so take you out to Fleet Street. You need to keep going west, past Chancery Lane, near the Royal Courts of Justice. Once you get to there, you're outside the city grounds.
Okay. But is the Royal Courts inside or outside? It's inside, isn't it?
I believe it's pretty much on the edge.
Okay.
It's either just on the edge or just outside.
Okay.
But the best way to distinguish where the City of London starts and finishes is any road sign with the City of London crest on it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I know, but like you say, sometimes it can be the crest, but you're actually on the other side of the border. But it's not. But no, Mr. Walker, I don't want to waste your time. I'm heading west anyway. I'm going to go up to the BBC anyway.
Right, Mr. Gray.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like,
fine.
issuing
You're filming it.
CPN.
Can I just say you're supposed to tell me if you're filming me so that I can, for data protection purposes, can collect that film. So, and I should say that I tried to apply for the last lot of film and they've just ignored me. But you should tell me you're filming me. But that's all right.
I'm recording.
Okay,
and
fine.
I know you're probably recording as well. Are you recording?
I'm recording, but I'm not obliged to tell you legally. But you are obliged to tell me.
Yeah, that's fine. So, your community protection notice is because you're harassing or intimidating members of the public or the local community, loitering in a public place of detrimental impact.
Can I just make very full slowly? At Newsworthy Publications, if you're interested.
Okay. So you were issued with a written warning on the 16th of September 2024 by the City of London Police to ensure that offending conduct has stopped by the end of the 15th of September 2025, but you have failed to do so. So in order to address the offending conduct, you must abide by the following conditions for a period of 3 months from today's date, which is the 12th of March.
I thought I was presumed innocent. How could I be carrying out offending conduct if I haven't been convicted?
So you're
alleged offending conduct, surely.
You are to cease this conduct above. To this effect, you must not engage in any begging or associated practices. You must not have in your possession items that are made or adapted to facilitate the consumption of controlled substances. You must not negatively impact on the life of local residents by littering, leaving bedding or clothing unattended, urinating or defecating in a public place. You are excluded from the area designated by the City of London, which is identified by any road name with the City of London crest and EC 1, 2, 3 and 4 postcodes,
Right.
and to not attend King's Benford, trespassing a private line, disrupting the work of these nearby premises by use of a megaphone while on private land.
Okay, so can I have that now?
Yeah,
You haven't finished, okay. Wow.
So you have until with immediate effect to ensure the conditions are completed, otherwise it will be in breach of the CPM, which is Community Protection Order. If you fail to comply with the requirements of the CPN, you will commit an offence for which you are liable on a summary conviction, which it could be a fine not exceeding level 4 on the standard scale in the case of an individual, or to a fine not exceeding 20,000 in the case of a body. So failure to comply with these terms, you can be arrested if you do.
Within 3 months?
Yes, so
Okay.
if you come back here or within the City of London area, you can be arrested.
Within 3 months?
Within the 3
Yeah,
months.
within the 3 months.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yes. Easily done.
When I give you this, you can read the appeal section here.
Yeah?
I'll let you just write your name.
No, I'm not signing anything. Even if I was legally represented, they'd tell me not to sign anything.
It doesn't have to
Okay,
sign it.
that's fine.
I don't even have.
I'll put the date.
I probably don't even have to take the form, but I'm going to because I want to appeal it.
I'll put the date.
Can I just make a point that I don't want to draw too much attention, but somebody's just written "gay boy" on that. That's a pretty serious homophobic. Just you see where the door's open. You see where they've got the door open on the green van.
Oh, right, okay.
I think it was meant for me because I didn't see it up there 20 minutes ago. It might have been there before, but I mean, I'm not actually gay, but it's a homophobic. It's essentially a public order offence, isn't it?
Right, so you named it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
So before we get onto the issue of my counter complaint,
Yep.
so can I give a statement now?
What, a statement regarding what?
The allegation of thank you, the guy making threats of unlawful violence.
However, we're not going to do it on this property here.
Okay.
Obviously that CPN's now been
Right.
issued to yourself.
So where do we go to make that?
Up through there.
Okay.
And out of the City of London.
Right. So can I question you about this here, or should we do that as well? Up
What
there?
would you like to ask about the CPN?
Well, as I understand it, to cut a long story short, the conduct that I'm doing here, I can do anywhere else in London except this area. Yes.
Except the City of London
But
area, defined by the postcodes.
Going forward, but the complaint is that I've been on private property, because not all of London in the city. I mean, theoretically, it's argued. Again, can I just turn around because this guy he's really getting. It's like some character out of Little Britain. The issue is because it's private property here. Not all of this is AY actually. I'm happy for you to correct that. It's GRAY, my surname.
GRAY.
Yeah. It's a common mistake. What did you say your name was again? Sorry?
PC Fidel.
Miss Fidel, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Benjamin.
Yeah. It's Mr. Gray, please. You're Mr.
Gray.
Warner. This is Miss Fidel, because obviously we're not. I'm one of those old-fashioned types with regard.
Okay.
First names are for people that have been invited on first name
Mr.
terms.
Gray, if you follow my two colleagues, they'll direct you out towards, basically out of the City of London.
Well,
They'll then speak to you about your complaint that you'd like to make against the resident
And
here.
the query I have with this,
And then
because I was told that I could raise it here. You said, what do I have? And then you invited me
because
to.
that's now been issued to you.
All right, that's fine.
We'll
That's
follow.
fine. Yeah, well, it's obviously because I want to get everything on recording, and you do as well.
So you want to do packet way normally when you...
Well, as you say, I'm okay once I reach the Royal Courts of Justice. Yeah. So I mean, I'm happy to meet you outside the RCJ. Yeah, do you want to meet outside the RCJ?
We need to go, we can go out that way generally, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if I'm not creating a disturbance now, and we've got lots of officers present, is there no reason, particular harm that we do? I mean, we can move away from this particular building.
Just because I've issued you with the CPN, so we'll just move out from this area,
Right.
and we can talk.
Yep. No, that's all right. That's all right.
You can. Whatever you like to say.
Well, they're just queries. Well, there's the witness statement. I'm just gonna. See, check this further. Yeah. Can I just? So, are you going to follow me up there? Are you? Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. What? Sorry. Okay. Who's that? Who's put that? Is that you? So we've got.
We really need to leave now.
No, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to say let's go. I'm coming. I'm being more compliant. You are. Just record that as well. You've written gay boy, homophobic, public order offence there. Yeah, well done. One thing we're not is your friend, because I'm reporting you to the police for making homophobic, public order offence. And by the way, that the spelling is without a K for the word that you're using. Well, I'm a bit confused. You're saying that you want me off the premises now. Out of City of London premises. Now you've issued me with the order, yeah? Yes. Okay, so.
So anything with the City of London crest.
Yes. No, I understand that. I'm just saying to make the witness statement and to raise my query about the order. Can we do this here, or do we have to go all the way off the off the?
Just go up onto Fleet Street, I think.
Okay.
There's still quite a few people who use the premises here will come in this one. I don't want to cause any issues with any.
Well, that's when I was his pupil.
Yeah, we must protect them. Don't worry about the abuse that I'm suffering from the police or the courts or. So how far do we have to go for me to where you're happy for me to speak to you?
The Syrians, I mean, we can have a chat around here if you want out of the way.
Just here, yeah, I'm going to say.
Yeah, whatever's out of the way.
Here?
Yeah, that would.
So about the order, could you explain to me, you're saying that the conduct that you wouldn't issue me with an order for on this street because it's not private. This is what your colleague told me when I was last issued with the original order. He said, I can be with my megaphone, be with my poster, making my allegations as long as I'm not on private property around Temple. Yeah. So you're saying, just for the sake of clarity, I mean, it's the worst place to have a discussion because there's just constant traffic. Can we go over there? Because if we go up there, there's a little quiet, a bit quieter there.
So that's
you're wanting to go to the Royal Courts after, aren't you?
But this is the Strand. There will be nothing quiet all the way down from here.
It's okay, I can hear you.
Well, yeah, but I just want everything on record. I have to shout a bit. So if I'm shouting, it's just to talk over the traffic. Okay. You're saying that the conduct that you wouldn't have issued me with the original order, okay, if it had been here in public. Let's say this is off the City of Westminster. No, sorry, out of the King's Work, the private property where I was. What is the relevance to my being on private property? It's about conduct. How does conduct that would not receive an order, which is lawful protest outside the private property, suddenly become an offence under the order, under the provision when I'm on private property? Because it's clearly an open. I understand if you go into someone's property, you're probably committing some kind of offence if you enter somebody's house. Okay, because But why is it just me standing there, which is clearly accessible to all the public? No one would even know they're on private property unless they were told by a security guard. What's the relevance?
I don't know the exact circumstance around the previous issuing of the warning, but it was related to the company, obviously, that in one of those premises. So the warning was effectively put in place to stop harassment of one of the companies in one of the premises, and now...
No, you forgive me, I'm trying to simplify it. I have this problem a lot because I represent myself.
Read the condition of that warning.
No.
Previous.
All I'm just clarifying, for the sake of my appealing it, right, to say that it's an unlawful order in the first place, you're saying, right, the conduct, that if I was not on private property, the conduct would not have received the warning, yeah? I would not have received the original notice. Yes?
I don't know about the issues, because obviously that's a separate officer that's explained that, and I've not looked into the...
Well, what's your understanding, because you've now handed me the further notice, so you're saying that I've engaged in...
So the further notice is because you've breached
the warning
because you've attended that location again.
So that
bottom one.
Yeah, I can read it. I'll read it.
Previous condition on the warning.
Yeah. So basically, you can't explain to me. You should know the same. Surely you have the same knowledge of who gets an order, the original order, because you're the same force giving an order. So you should.
I don't know what officer gave you the original.
I'm looking up my system and try and find what they said.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's one of
the condition just said to not attend King's Bench Walk, trespassing on private land, disrupting the work of those in the nearby premises by the use of a megaphone while on private land.
But I'll just try one more time. If you can't explain it, it's okay. I've got it.
So I don't know the circumstances of that. I just know that you were issued with a warning with that condition, and we've turned up.
But will you have a copy of that, or will you have a copy of the notice somewhere? The one that you issued me in the first place?
Yeah, they'll have a record of it.
But in any event, I'm just explaining to you what I was told by the officer. You understood that I can...
So the officer said, when he gave the warning, if you've been protesting basically here, they wouldn't have given it.
Yes.
So essentially, when they gave the warning, it's probably what they're probably trying to say is, if you move your protest directly away from the premises of the private land, then it might have been a bit different. I don't know the exact rationale behind that comment, but I think that's what they're trying to highlight. Unfortunately, we don't have the option because they've issued the warning, you've breached that.
But my point is, you should know, you should have the same knowledge of who should get a warning. If I just turned up for the first time today, conducted myself in the same way, right? You would have. Are you saying that you, as far as to your knowledge, you would have given me a warning, the first warning, under those circumstances?
If this is the first time you've ever turned up, probably would have engaged with you, the business, and seen exactly what, if any, disturbance is going on, and then maybe try to resolve it with just some words of advice.
Okay, so you wouldn't have given me the notice?
It depends on the circumstance. Right. I can't say, we've got the whole range of options every time we deal with someone, obviously. There's opposite discretion.
Well, I made it clear that I wouldn't leave unless I was going to leave when it was close of business. But my point is, I'm just trying to, just one more time, maybe I'm not explaining it clearly what my query is. The point is, when I got the original notice, right, I was told by the police, they will have body-worn video, hopefully, could you make sure that they retain it, or they've ignored my data protection request, but anyway, they said, the main officer that I dealt with, I forget his name, he said, if the conduct that was complained of, they wouldn't have given me the notice if it was on public land. They're saying that the issue that it turned on was that the conduct that I was carrying out, which was lawful, it was lawful protest. I wasn't abusing people, I wasn't creating a public order, I was simply trying to, doing what other protesters do. I passed about 3 lots of them on the way here. Yeah? So they said that I was doing that lawfully. What made it unlawful, or what merited the notice, was because it was on private land. And I think that's absolute crock of nonsense. It doesn't make any difference if it's on private. I accept that if you're going to someone's garden or something in a private house, this is open access, nobody would know it's on private land, and I can't see how they get extra privilege. They're saying that they're saying I was interfering with work. Well, then you can say the same thing about traffic, or people playing music loudly. You could go on forever. This is one of the busiest cities in the world. Obviously, there's going to get a lot of shouting and noise, and this is nothing compared to Soho, is it? So you wouldn't start handing out notices to every raucous, drunk, party people that were out in the pub, would you? So the conduct, the disturbing that I'm causing, they're not special category victims because they're richer and because they own that little plot of land. That's my point. Why should they become victims and an offence is occurring, or whatever it was, in terms of the allegation, that isn't occurring when I walk 5 metres that way. And they're not entitled to that protection. They're not entitled to that protection, but just because they, it's a particularly wealthy area, a little spot where they're churning millions a day because they're barristers. Yeah, why do they get special? Can you see my point? That's my point about it. It can't be. The victim is by how wealthy that the complainant is. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it's about that. It's one of those things. I'm probably not going to be able to answer it satisfactorily because I don't know everything that was in the officers. Maybe they didn't fully best explain it to you, or
I'm just telling you what he told me, and I'm paraphrasing, not word for word. But the point is, obviously, if you can't explain it, then obviously that gives me grounds to waste the court's time by complaining that the conduct, it's about the conduct, not where the conduct is taking place. The fact that it's on private land is irrelevant. That's my point. It is irrelevant to the notice. It should be about the conduct per se. If the conduct out here is acceptable and lawful, but it's not there because I'm on private, just because they're saying it's private. We don't even have any evidence of that. But my point is, when I raise it with the court, I'll just simply say, well, the police officers couldn't explain to me why should they get special victimhood because it's private land.
I don't know the exact circumstances of the original.
It's exactly what they've complained about is exactly what happened today. Exactly the same.
So the notice is given because of you just breached the warning.
Yes.
What the officers told you, I can't say anything on that. So
but I'm telling you. Let's assume that what I'm telling you is the truth. You should know. You should be able to explain to me. Just as if you gave me if you arrested me for some particular offence yesterday, you would, and I said, well, why did you arrest me? Could you explain the legal premises? You wouldn't say, if I told you the same circumstances, you wouldn't say, well, we don't know. Your officers from the same force. Doesn't matter.
Because it's in specifics of the circumstance. It depends exactly what the people said to them in terms of what they had told about occurring, that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I mean, you have to. I'll leave it there, but you have to accept, from my point of view, you should have a baby. If I've said, I'll put it in much, trying to even simplify it even more, because I accept you weren't at the last incident in September. Assuming that the same complaint from them was exactly the same about my conduct was the same as today, was the same in September. Assuming it was the same conduct, that I was there with a megaphone, that I was disturbing their work. Yes, all the grounds that you've just read out, right? But you're saying that I can conduct myself like that out of that area. What is the significance of the fact that I'm on private land to the conduct? Surely if I'm just hypothetically, if I punch someone in the face in there, you wouldn't say you can go out and punch someone in the face out there. But you can't do it in here because it's private land. You would be across the board.
It's not really about the private land. I think it's more that you were using the megaphone.
Thank you.
But it is also.
But I can use the megaphone here.
It's also private property.
Yeah. So it is about the private land because I can use a megaphone here, can't I? It's just common sense. I can use a megaphone here off Westminster. I could even use it here even if I wasn't on private land in the city of Westminster.
But if you're disturbing people in these businesses and they come to complain to us, then we'd have a chat with you.
Yes, but you couldn't issue me with a notice. Because otherwise you'd have to issue, then you'd have to explain why everybody else, you'd have to say, what's the significance of my having a loudspeaker to someone using a car horn? Why are people using much bigger loud? I mean, mine's a little one, they've got massive ones. You can go online, you can see people. There's a guy who's shouting louder than my megaphone could do with reading out the Bible outside Westminster. It's not about the volume, it's about, all I was told was by your colleague, it's about, you're saying the conduct per se. You told me I can carry on with the megaphone out here.
I can't say anything what that officer
No, but you're saying now.
I didn't say anything now. I'm just saying that was the condition on the warning. I can't say anything of what that officer's told you. I have not read. I haven't seen the previous. All I know is that you were issued with a warning with this condition of not to enter.
Yes, but in terms, yes, I understand all that. Please don't tell me stuff that I've left. So I know that I should. I'll put it like this one final time. I can come here. You're not saying that I can't use my megaphone here, are you?
So.
Because then it's a whole new ball game. Because you're saying it's about being on that land or being inside the city of Westminster. If I'm off the city of Westminster, right, where I've got to go to comply with the order. But if I go into central London, out of the city of Westminster, you're not saying that I'm breaching the notice, or you'll hand me another notice.
You wouldn't be breaching that notice.
Right. Well, I was outside BBC on that same day, on September. I went to the BBC headquarters, and I was there for at least two and a half hours with the megaphone saying the same stuff. Police didn't come near me. I had no issue with that. I was specifically told if the body-worn video is available, it will be provable by the officer who told me. Because now, if you're telling me I can't use a megaphone but other people can, then obviously I'm going to. That is now bordering on police harassment, isn't it?
You're not banning you from using a megaphone.
Right.
In the area, except what sets the notice to.
So it must be.
In the future, if you were to choose to do this outside of another premises, the police could attend, assess the situation, and it technically possible that another CPW could be issued, but it would be a separate one because it's
okay.
be a different course of
and it's a different police force. So because we're the city,
but the law, yes, but the law must be. It can't be just completely random. No, you can't. You are aware.
Each situation that we
yes,
deal with.
yes, but you know. You can go round London and see people reading out, shouting the Bible, people on megaphones, with the Palestinian protest or whatever. So you know it's lawful to do it generally. The police officer, the particular officer who dealt with me in September, specifically said you can go with your megaphone, just don't do it here because it's private land. So obviously. We'll leave it there. Obviously, if I am going to be using my megaphone. I will not be in the city of Westminster, and obviously,
City of London. So you can.
City of London.
Westminster. It's not our area.
City of Westminster, City of London. Okay, I'm going to be going outside the area that you're concerned about. You said if I go west, that's all I have to worry about. So I can go west. I can go Victoria.
Yes,
you don't have a problem.
Yes.
All right. So that's not an issue. But you haven't properly satisfied me or explained to me at all. You've now suggested that they can issue me with a notice for the same reasons, even if I'm not on private land, which contradicted what I was told in September. But I'll leave it there. In terms of my counter-allegation then, can I make a witness statement in terms of complaining about the unlawful threats of violence?
So, and the particulars of that are, remind me again, so he said comment to you was...
But basically, he came, I'm sort of fairly relaxed with you now, so I don't mind you coming into my space, but he just came out of nowhere. He was as close to me as you are now. He had his walkie-talkie, he was pointing at me like this. He said, first of all, he said, what are you doing here? I said, I don't want to engage with you. I'm exercising my right to peaceful protest. Call the police. I've told them about the form and the notice, and I said, I'm sure the police will deal with it. And he just continued to evade my space. He refused to leave me alone. And then he said, if you become aggressive, I just told you now, he has a Scottish accent, so I'm not being prejudiced because I'm part Scottish, but he was like, if I have to remove, if you be aggressive, I'm going to physically throw you out. I'm going to grab you. I can't remember the exact words, but he was talking about manhandling me, physically throwing me out for being aggressive. Okay, and it's not an offence to be aggressive. The only possible justification, as we discussed, is he can restrain me if I'm committing suspected an offence, prevent a crime, and to effect an arrest, and there's breach of the peace, threatening violence or doing a violent act. So none of that. Just being aggressive, which could be anything. I could be aggressively nice. I could be aggressively passionate about my cause. It's not aggression on law itself. It doesn't come near any kind of an offence, and it cannot possibly justify threatening someone with violence any more than I can start threatening random people on the street now. It doesn't matter that we're on private property or that he's the manager of the property. That doesn't change anything. He's a civilian, the same as me. I can't walk up to that man over there. I can't go up to this lady if she was in civilian clothes, or even if you're officers, and start saying, oh, if you're aggressive to me, I'm going to throw you out of a shop or wherever. It's completely unlawful violence. It's definitely a breach of the peace, and I want to make a formal complaint against him for that. I mean, I gave you the initial details back there, and you're all so confused. You're more concerned, not you necessarily personally, because you didn't issue me with it. You're more concerned about me with a loudspeaker and with a poster making allegations against the judiciary than you are about this man making unlawful threats of violence. It shouldn't matter that I'm quite a tall gentleman or that I'm here on private land. It should matter if I'm an elderly lady, person of colour, whatever the situation. Everybody's supposed to be equal before the law. On what lawful basis are you saying that he was entitled to do that and he hasn't committed some sort of threat of violence offence?
So, During this painful initial,
You have to speak up a bit because of the noise.
Give me one. My colleague's going to start taking DLs. I'll come back and check with you.
But okay, yeah. I mean, you're an officer. I've asked you a very simple question. It's not complicated, is it? Have I provided prima facie evidence of a crime with that threat? In your view? Because obviously if you haven't, then there's not much point in me standing here any longer. I can get up to the BBC with my walkie-talkie. Because you want me off this premises anyway. I don't want to waste my voice, because I need to keep my vocal cords for my protest up the road. I mean, I've now raised this. I've now spoken to you. I've explained the details of it for 20 minutes. I still haven't got a straight answer to whether you think it's prima facie evidence of a crime. It kind of makes my point for me, you see. Two-tier justice, you see. At Newsworthy Publications. Do you have access to a YouTube?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. Never mind then. You're looking completely bamboozled, officer. You're an officer of the law, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Okay, you speaking to somebody?
No.
Who are you saying hello to? Okay.
Yourself.
Miss who?
Yourself, sir.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That's right. Just kind of,
What was it that he said to you? Is it that he was going to remove you from the premises?
He said, if you're aggressive, I will physically remove you from the premises. I'm paraphrasing.
Security.
He was the manager. I don't know if that, presumably that's head of security. Yeah.
Would you want to do I'm just trying to think. It's because of. I don't think it's a threat of violence. I think it's more that they know that you've been here before, you've got a banning order, and that you're not allowed to be in the.
No, he was nothing to do with the order. What's your name? Sorry. Sorry, I'm quite slow. We'll sink in eventually, and then I won't forget it ever. It's PC Fidel. Okay, Fidel. Sorry. F-A-D-E-L. Okay. And can you give your first name?
My shoulder number, my 578.
No, I wouldn't know. If you don't want to give your full name. That's entirely up to you. But I think I'll find it out anyway. 557. I've just explained to you, okay? It had nothing to do with I told him about the order. I said, with the order, you can probably get the police to remove me anyway. So he didn't need to involve myself. I've even got him on film with his colleague, the smaller guy, telling him to move away from me. He said, don't engage with him. He had to be told to move away from me, right? So it's nothing to do with the order. The order, even you've turned up, and even you haven't physically removed me. You've given me a last warning. So you don't even have the power under the first notice to remove me. You can only hand me a second warning. If I'd stayed there, then you could have arrested me for ignoring the final warning. So even you don't have the power. He's a civilian, and it had nothing to do with the order. He talked about me being aggressive. Being aggressive is not, by any criteria, does not justify threats of violence. It is not a threat of just violence, it's a threat of unlawful violence. That is easily a Section 4 public order offence at the very least. Are you still discussing whether I provide you? Because
No. Okay. I'm literally. He's got to get a statement of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just.
Great. That's fantastic.
The crime report.
Okay, you made that clear because you just said a moment ago that you didn't think there was any offence made out. So
if you want to, it might not. Do you know his name?
Yes, I know his surname is Ross. I forgot his first name. But you know who he is. I mean, he's been involved in the incident just now. It's not as if you can't identify him. I mean, obviously, to save you guys time, I'm happy if you give me a crime number now. I can give you my email address. If you or a colleague contacts me, I can give you I can actually do it telephonically. I can give you a telephone statement, and you can email me to sign off on it.
What's the best email then? I'll grab that.
Yeah, sure. It's Ben J Gray, all one word, all lowercase.
Ben
J with a letter G, and then it's Gray, like my surname. At hotmail.co.uk.
Now what's the contact number?
I just want to do it for the moment. Once I get an email, I'll then arrange for because otherwise, if it's a telephone call that says, "Oh, there's been no crime, mate," and then I start arguing on the phone, it becomes all very heated and nothing gets solved, and there's no paper trail. So if I get an email first,
Ben and then J for Juliet, Gray at hotmail.co.uk.
Yep. Yeah, can I just check? Because it just said, yeah, it's all lowercase. There's no, there is an AY. It's A for Alpha. Gray, A for AY. Yeah, A for Alpha. Yeah.
Because what you could do is then email you with the crime reference number.
Yep. Don't you have a number now? Now that
no, because I still need to write everything up.
We can get a card number.
I can give you a card.
I mean, I argue because part of the reason I'm here protesting is because I get arrested in Bristol, not in London, but I get arrested all the time, and they're usually NFA. I mean, they paid like £250,000 of taxpayers' money to stop me litigating. So I have got an order against me bringing private litigation, which obviously makes things worse. It makes things easier for them in terms of dealing with me. But I do know that they usually arrest me. The grounds are for a prompt and effective investigation. So if you say that you're going to arrest him, I can give you the statement now. I'm happy to give you a statement now. Because it's a violent offence that I'm complaining of.
So we'll still need to do our investigation, so we won't just go.
Well, you do have powers under Section 24 of PACE to arrest for a prompt and effective investigation. I mean, you've arrested me for Section 5, which isn't even imprisonable. In Section 5 you can arrest, Section 5 Public Order 1986, that's not even an imprisonable offence. This guy's threatened me with violence. And who else is he going to be threatening with violence next that happens to wander onto his little plot of land that he doesn't like or doesn't think should be there? You know, you can't just make random threats to violently remove people you don't like in a public area. If I was in his bedroom, he'd be well within his rights. If I'm in a public square, you know, where public parking space and everything, you can't be just randomly threatening violence with people. And if he's like that with me, you know, and a lot of these security guards, the ex-army, ex-force, they've been thrown out because they've committed some sort of wrongdoing when they're in the force or the police or the army. So he's probably he's probably got some sort of cloud. You know, this case that I'm complaining of, the security guard that kicked it all off he had a conviction for assault. He's the head of security at Bristol Crown Court, and he's got a conviction for ABH. You know what I mean? And they got him on the front door. You know, so this is the way they operate. They're all gangsters, effectively. They're just gangsters. You know, but could you just run it by me? I mean, I think we have agreed that there is prima facie. My allegation, if proven, because I can obviously provide the footage. Of course, I can send you the footage once I get contact. But assuming that I haven't made this up and that I can't show you any footage, I can even show it you now if you want, because I've got the SD card. I can give that. You can pop that into your phone or whatever. But do you accept that there is an offence that is a public order, unlawful violence?
So, I understand you alleged the offence. You obviously need to investigate to confirm what has happened. In terms of being arrested, we don't feel that there's a necessity for that, or we can do the investigation without that being required.
Okay. It's funny. I wish that was the bread was buttered the same way on the other side. When it's my complaint, I've got a strong feeling that it's because he's who he is, because he's friends with all the big barristers, which is that little plot of land there anyway. But but assuming my allegation is true, do you accept that it's a sexual? What offence do you think I'm complaining of?
So you'd be alleging public order around alarm or distress?
Yeah, threatening unlawful violence. Yeah. Section 4, I think. Section 4, Section 4A. So, we can agree on that because that's.
So I appreciate that's your. That's what you're taking from it. We need to investigate exactly what's happened with anything. Well, it might be the case though that obviously you've got a crime that gets assessed.
But
I need to understand exactly which offences.
But I'm just concerned because let's just put the shoe on the other foot, and I'm being hypothetical. But if I say to you now, if I see you being aggressive, I'm going to physically remove you to another part of, effectively kidnapping you. In fact, that's what because that's removing someone by force against their will without a lawful excuse. That's an offence of kidnap. Okay, so he's actually threatening to kidnap me. Okay, so that's certainly unlawful violence. You would arrest me, wouldn't you? If I just said to you, if you're aggressive to me, i.e. not committed any offence, but just simply being aggressive, which you're entitled to be, and I threaten I'm going to use violence against you, you would arrest me for that, wouldn't you? Or you'd certainly have me investigated.
Not really, not.
Okay.
I've had all sorts of weird things sent to me in London.
Well, it's not a question of weird. I mean, it's a question of intimidation. I was scared. I was put in fear of violence.
No, but for me, that comment wouldn't put me in.
Well, probably because I'm saying it in a very civilised way and I haven't just come out of thin air. If I was to say it to this lady or that man, just randomly go into their face and say, if you're being aggressive, I'm going to physically remove you from the premises. I mean, I'm sure, because I'm recording this and nobody gets I haven't got any real hits on my channel, so no one really cares at the moment. But obviously I can download it and it's relevant, obviously it'll be relevant to my appeal to the court about the notice. I'm really concerned because you're an officer of the law. I can't see how you could possibly think it's civilised or not a criminal offence for a random stranger to go into an area that's clearly public by any criteria. No one would know they're on private land. I know because I was told from the last incident. And just randomly say, if you haven't, even if you're not committing a criminal offence, I'm going to physically restrain you and move you to somewhere else. I mean, could you say that to a lady, to a young girl, to an elderly lady? Would you not be concerned, or is it just because I'm a big man and I'm complaining about?
I'm not saying that. It depends on sort of the individual level of concern. When you asked me, I honestly told you that wouldn't put me in fear of violence myself. That's my personal. You asked for my personal opinion.
But even if it didn't put me in fear, he's likely to cause fear by the threat. He's not. He made it in a way that he was clearly going to carry out the threat. There was no doubt in my mind that he was threatening me. He was genuinely threatening me with unlawful violence. He's threatening me. It's a threat, isn't it? If you do such and such, something will happen to you. Do you not accept that as a threat? He's going to lay hands on me against my will and remove me somewhere.
But if you said, if you show me aggression, it depends on what's already happened. Like if there's a
just as I told you, I've almost quoted him word for word.
But if there'd been like a verbal conversation beforehand and someone was just pre-warned, like as court de-escalation.
But I've told you in my circumstances that I've explained to you that I was minding my own.
Yeah, no, but I'm a crime right now.
I just got a question to ask. Have you been a victim of crime in the last 12 months?
Many crimes, yes.
Would you like to have victims?
No, I just want to. Well, I want to start off with the investigation. I don't want to engage any further. I'm just trying to clear up with this officer because this is. You see, I'll leave it here because I'm just moving on. But this is kind of why I'm here out campaigning.
Yeah. That's fine. You'll get crime reference number.
Can I just turn it? Look at it this way. If I was a wealthy man, if I was a trained barrister, or if I had a barrister that I could go to and sue this man. Okay, I wouldn't probably even worry too much because I'd just sue him for criminal harassment and threats. Okay, so it would be done and dusted. I can't get representation. I can't even file claims myself because I've told you about the restraining order, forensic litigation. All you're doing is, this is what I mean by two-tier. You just look at the status of somebody, and the same complaint.
Status. It's not about status. I'm doing a crime report. You will get an email with the crime reference number. My phone's not.
But how can you put? But in the scenario that I've given,
You've made your report to us. I'm putting in everything you've said. threatened you to physically remove you because you were being aggressive. That's what I put on a crime
No,
report.
he didn't. I'm not saying that. You see, this is the problem. I didn't.
He said that he's threatened to physically.
Not because I was being aggressive. That isn't what I told you. He said if I become aggressive. And probably when he spoke to me, I then became aggressive because he was making illegal threats of unlawful violence. But my issue is trying to clear up the point of law with Mr. Northey, is he thinks that it's perfectly acceptable on the scenario. You're saying it depends on the context.
I don't know, because you asked us if you were basically leading us down the question of are you going to go arrest him at this point in time, and then I was saying to you why we need to do the more slow time investigation is more appropriate in this instance.
But you use, I know, but your powers of arrest would stretch to even a Section 5, which isn't even imprisonable, because I've been arrested under Section 5, okay, which isn't an imprisonable offence.
Yeah,
I've even been got compensation.
The necessity is separate from the offence.
Yeah, I'm not. As I say, you're the one who's deflected it away. All I'm trying to clarify, you're saying I could have just made everything up, or I could be exaggerating, or it could be even worse than I'm telling you. Okay, I'm just saying, according to what I've told you, my version of me turning up, him coming into my face uninvited, me asking him to move back, saying he's entitled to speak, but I don't want to engage with him, and him jabbing his walkie-talkie and said, if you're aggressive with me, I'm going to throw you out, I'm going to physically remove you. Okay, that's exactly what he did within seconds of my engaging with him. Being aggressive is not a criminal offence. He could have said, if you attack me, I will defend myself. Absolutely fine. If you commit a public order offence, if you commit a crime and there's reason, I will use reasonable force to prevent a crime. Obviously, reasonable force could not involve violence because I'm carrying out a Section 4A offence myself, because they don't have. Okay, so it's about context. Just being aggressive, I could. What
he means by the term. Because he might not know the law as well as you. He might have meant aggression in terms of violence. You know, people don't always state exactly how the law is written in front of them. They don't always best explain themselves.
No, but you're not his advocate. He can explain it to me.
I'm saying we still need to investigate.
Yeah, you understand? Yeah, no. You're. I think you're being. Do you know what I mean by being obtuse? You're being deliberately, willfully misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm just saying about what No, please, can let me finish off. Okay, and I've got everything on film. I'm just, this is just a small little, what was a brick in the general wall, if I can put it like that. What I'm coming across with you. What really concerns me, okay, is that if he's doing it with me, if you're allowing him to do that with me, what is to stop him, if he wants, because you're saying you can't see any, according to what I've told you, of him walking around that area, and he sees an old lady. We saw a couple of old ladies when we were there, hobbling past, going into their face. If you're aggressive, I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to physically remove you. What's to stop him doing that to anybody? Okay, you're saying you do not understand. All I'm asking you, just to conclude, do you know what I mean by prima facie? A prima facie. Do you know what prima facie means? On the face of it, yeah. So there may be more details. He may have I may have made it up. There's all kinds of hypotheticals, but the prima facie case of what I gave to you, you're saying, do you accept on that basis there is reasonable suspicion of a violent public order offence?
So we're priming it as a public order.
No, you say simple yes or no, isn't it? This is
yeah. Okay. And you'll get the crime reference number in your email.
You're just basically.
There's nothing else we can do right now that you've told us.
This gentleman can answer simple questions, yes or no. Have I given you prima facie evidence of a serious violent offence? Right. Yes or no?
We've primed it. We need to do our
listen to that.
We need to do our investigation.
Yeah, because we.
So we're going to leave it there.
You're just gangsters. You wear uniforms, but you're just gangsters. That's all you are. He's a gangster. Doesn't he come across as a gangster? Didn't he come across as a gangster? And your pathetic little puppets. No, I don't. I've already agreed to. You said you wanted me to have. Here, you go. Right, but you need to leave the area just because of your CV. So we've agreed that there's a prima facie case. Someone visit. You see, you cannot even allow me to speak a sentence.
You've got an email with the crime reference number, so I'm going to leave it there. Okay?
Yes. So, but what you're making it clear that you're telling me to go away, having just established that I'm the victim of a crime.
excuse my idiot
right.
colleagues, but he actually.
Oh, you're one of the builders, yeah?
He's a fool, that boy.
I feel sorry for having to work with him, yeah.
That's just idiots.
Yeah.
So I've got.
Thank you.
It's been close to my heart, this, because I was accused as a kid myself, and the person who done it got 4 years.